Hello everyone, I'm Cedric from Farworld Studio, here with the new Devlog. This time we're going to dwell on gathering, crafting and various other things. As usual, we'd like to remind you that everything we show is still under development. Graphics, animations, sounds, gameplay, interfaces, everything will be greatly improved between now and the game's release. So if something seems badly done or poorly polished, there is a good chance it's an unfinished element. Without further ado, let's get started. We have to start with an element that has recently been completely redesigned. If you've watched previous videos, you'll certainly have noticed the presence of objects floating in front of the player. This was a representation of the items attached to the player's belt to make them easy to grab or to store objects that you think you might need. In principle, the idea wasn't too bad. In practice, however, it wasn't at all pleasant to use. It was not uncommon to grab or put things away by mistake. What's more, the limited number of 4 slots could make it very frustrating to use, forcing you to juggle between items on your belt and those in your inventory. We've rethought everything to make gameplay more fluid. From now on, the belt is no longer there in the same form. Instead, objects are dynamically suggested according to context, thanks to a side pop-up. In concrete terms, when you approach a door, for example, if you have a pickaxe in your inventory, the pop-up will dynamically display the pickaxe and you can grab it. It also works for all other tools or even doors by directly proposing the right key if you have it, so there's no need to navigate through the inventory too often. It's more pleasant, intuitive and adaptable to many purposes. Only exception, your weapon always hangs on your side. It lets you do that. Yes, you can throw your weapon at a target to finish off a fleeing monster, for example. Another thing that makes use of this new dynamically proposed item system is potions. Once again, when you need a potion, there's no need to play with an inventory. You've got potions in your bag, you or an ally is low on life, then the potion is displayed at your fingertips. Naturally, we are making all of this highly configurable. You can reposition the pop-up where items appear as you wish. For example, you can also configure at what percentage of life remaining they should be displayed, and whether they should be displayed when an ally is also suffering, or whether you keep them just for yourself. Oh, and yes, you can stick a potion right into an ally's face. There's no better way to soothe the boo-boo. Of course, we're still working on the animation, as it's much more fun when the potion explodes on impact when smashed on an ally. Now that this feature has been explained, let's talk a bit about items. There are many types of items, and not just equipment. Some can be picked up from monsters, but also simply by exploring the world, finding chests, or completing quests. Some items are resources that can be used to create other items through crafting. Items have rarity levels, represented by the color of the item's name in your inventory, but also when you find it in the world so you don't miss them. The rarer an item, the more powerful it is. From the least rare to the most rare, here are the different qualities. Grey or junk items have no use and can be resold to merchants without worry. White or common items are easy to find. From this level onward, the object always has a use, either because it can be equipped or because it is used in crafting, for example. It can also be used as currency. In short, don't get rid of it before you've checked what it can be used for. Green or uncommon items are easy to find but a little less common. Blue or fantastic items are quite rare. They are usually dropped by more powerful monsters or are more difficult to make. Yellow or epic items are very rare. Don't expect to find one until you're at a high level. Only really powerful monsters or resources found only by chance at this level. And last, the legendary red items, which are only seen once in a while and are truly exceptional. They can only be found at maximum level in the most dangerous places such as dungeons or against the most fearsome bosses. Want to harvest stuff? No worries, just grab the right tool and you're good to go. No special requirements beside having the tool in your bag. Plants are scattered all over the place, so you'll need to learn how to spot them to know which ones are useful. If you're close to a useful plant, a glitter effect highlights it to let you know it's harvestable. Simply take your sickle and cut the plant in one swift motion to retrieve it. Each plant has its own preferred conditions like humidity and sunlight in which to grow. Knowing this will help you know where to go to harvest each type of plant. Minerals are more often found in rocky areas. From time to time you may come across a small isolated mineral, but keep your eyes peeled for large deposits that can be recognized from distance. They usually contain a good quantity of resources. Wood is of course found with trees. However, these are pretty fine trees. Trees that are straight and not too big are ideal targets for crafting. When you get close to one that's suitable, the same visual effect as the plant is applied to let you know. With time you'll soon be able to recognize them from a distance to maximize your harvest. Harvesting trees couldn't be more intuitive. Take your axe, hit the trunk and... avoid staying under it when it falls. It's dangerous. Also warn your friends before chopping it. Once the trunk is on the ground, you can use your axe to cut logs. Each player has his own version of these resources, so there's no need to share them. Those harvestable plants, ores and trees respawn once a day. If, after harvesting everything in one zone, you need more, simply move to another zone. Monsters are primarily sources of fur, skins, bones and sometimes magical resources. Rare monsters, such as bosses, can provide unique resources to create powerful items. In the opposite, if you need basic furs for example, hunting simple prey is more interesting, but many tend to flee. Using a ranged weapon or spells works better for these situations. There are also legendary resources that can be used to manufacture items of the same quality. Red dragon scales, for example, are among the highest level resources available. Alright, just a quick word on a frequently requested activity, fishing. We really want to integrate it, but we don't know when yet. We'll see how our planning goes, but we're definitely thinking about it. Now let's talk about what can be done with these resources. In the development, we give priority to the 3 crafting professions that allow to manufacture most weapons and armors. These are blacksmith, tanner, and tailor. Later on we'll look at the following professions, which are in second priority: carpenter, alchemist, enchanter, cook, and goldsmith. From a gameplay point of view, each profession consists of 3 minigames using the strength of VR to make it much more fun than clicking on an interface. To take forging as an example, the first minigame lets you melt ore into ingots. The second one makes you forge the objects by hitting the metal precisely with your forge hammer. Finally, the last minigame asks you to place an enchantment on your creation. The minigames take into account your speed and precision to define a success score from 0 to 100%. Depending on your score, bonuses or penalties may be applied at the end of the creation process. If you successfully complete the minigames with a score of 100%, you can recover some of the basic materials or create a useful byproduct, for example. Conversely, if your score is very low, the creation of the objects may fail and you may lose components. But don't panic, crafting professions have a level, and creating items increase it. Gaining levels unlocks recipes and reduces the difficulty of lower level recipes. A master craftsman will therefore have no difficulty in producing low-level items. You can also get new recipes by finding them while exploring the world. Finally, if crafting isn't your thing, you can always ask other players to create items for you or buy them. However, a few items can only be obtained if you craft them for yourself. We'll show you a more in-depth demonstration of the gameplay once development in this area is more advanced. We end this devlog with a little surprise that we teased a few weeks ago. As you may have noticed from the Howling Valley preview video, our aim is to create some pretty big environments with a good verticality. To make accessing elevated areas easier, we quickly started exploring alternatives to climbing. Climbing in VR works well, but after a while it gets a bit boring and tiring on the arms. The means of locomotion selected include the grappling hook. We're not talking about swinging like a pendulum to reach places, but rather a grappling hook that pulls you quickly. Thanks to which you'll be able to reach high positions without effort. The attachment points are located at predefined spots where they make the most sense. If you spot one, there's a good chance it's a shortcut to higher ground or a treasure that can only be reached using the grappling hook. Here again, we're still working on the look and feel, so what you see is not definitive. Just remember that the grappling hook is a very fast navigation tool that gives a good feeling of freedom, and there are several talents that will allow you to improve it. And so ends this devlog. We're still working like crazy to get ready for the first alpha, but we can't wait to share more glimpses of the game between now and then, especially in terms of combat, where a lot of work is underway. In the meantime, see you soon on Discord and other social media. Do not hesitate to share the video to people who have not heard of us, it would help us a lot. See you next time!